Hello, everyone. So, growth occurs when individuals confront problems, struggle to master them, and through the struggle, develop new aspects of their skills, capacities, views about life. I'm here with founder and director of Faculty Minds, Mr. Shreemant Yadav, and who also believes in this statement, and he has been supporting a lot of people like me in order to have their new skills and capabilities unleashed. So today in this session, we'll be exploring about mental health and family dynamics. And welcome you, sir. How are you doing?
You. I'm doing great and I'm very excited to talking to you.
Yes,
So this is an interesting thing you're doing and I'm very happy joining you.
thank you so much for that, sir. And as I mentioned about the faculty minds, can you help
Yeah.
us in order to understand what all services and what you do in a day-to-day job?
So Faculty Minds is the most premium and professional clinic that is located in Mumbai. And we function from Mumbai, Santa Cruz. We do in-person and online sessions also. We provide counseling services which are at par with global standards. That means we don't do temporary counseling. We don't do advice giving. We don't do something which is only problem centric. We do a person centric counseling wherein we help the person understand themselves and treat them holistically. Now, mental health is usually perceived as a mental health disorder. So, a person only with a mental health disorder needs to go for counseling. However, that's absolutely wrong. Actually, people who have a lot of internal challenges, understanding themselves, breaking the psychological barriers, all of those people do go for counseling. So I have a lot of successful people in that businessmen, sportspersons, entrepreneurs, educated people who are coming for counseling, not because they have any mental disorder. They cannot be put into any category of mental health disorder, but they want to understand themselves, they want to grow as a person, they want to create internal changes, and that is why counseling is very necessary. So Faculty Minds provides that, and we are a team of psychologists who are working under me, and we deal with different age groups. We deal with adults. I'm a couple therapist, I'm a marital therapist, and I work with adults mostly. My team works with adolescents, teenagers, so a lot of things which are established in our organization since a long time, and we are one of the known organizations who provide professional counseling with in-depth programs. We don't do 1 or 2 sessions; we do in-depth programs for a client.
So talking about experiences, sir. So how do our early childhood experiences shape our adult relationships and behaviors?
Actually, our early childhood relationships with our primary caregivers, they influence if you have not become aware. For some people, it impacts 100%. But till a certain age, it definitely impacts you. Let's go into a little understanding of what is early childhood experiences. So, if you see that as a child, when a child is born, the child learns everything subconsciously. So, the child doesn't make a decision of, I want to learn this or not. The child exposes itself to every experience so that it learns from it. In the same way, so that is a natural mechanism. Actually, nature has made us to learn subconsciously. So if you see, language development happens before the age of 5. A child learns 2 to 3 languages before the age of 6. So now if I tell you today to learn a language, it is going to be very difficult. You will take 5 years to learn one single language. But
Yes,
as
I
a
do.
child, we learn 3 to 4 languages very easily during the first few years. So now do we see that the child is more intelligent than an adult? No. It's not the intelligence, it's the subconscious learning. So what happens is when we are dealing with a lot of issues in our life as a child, I'm talking as a child, we are experiencing things subconsciously and we also learn it. Now, this subconscious becomes our default setting. If I have to use a very technical term, it becomes our default setting wherein we function through those experiences, through those learnings. And those learnings stay for a very long time. So, if I tell you a child only starts conscious development, sorry, the conscious mind only develops after the age of 7 or 8. Then the child understands what they are, who they are, what are their choices, what do they like, what they do not like. Otherwise, all the learning happens subconsciously. And early childhood experiences, especially, happen through our parents. How our parents treat us, how our parents help us grow, what are the reinforcement techniques used by our parents, what do they teach, what do they reject. All of these things impact our understanding. Especially when we talk about subconscious mind, if you go below the age of 1 year, child for till 6 months, the child cannot see clearly, right? The child only can see blurred vision. So how does the child understand who is the safe person or who is not safe? So the child understands the mother's touch, the father's touch,
Uh,
or any other primary caregiver in the family. So the child understands that the child becomes comfortable with them. And if you see a child, if it goes to a stranger, the child may feel uncomfortable or it may cry or something like that. So even a child of 6 months baby also knows what is safe zone, what is not. So now this subconscious learning sometimes stays with us for the developing years of our life. And we function through those subconscious mechanisms. Now, if they are healthy, it will be really good. But if they are not healthy, it is going to cause a challenge.
can you exemplify a healthy behavior and a unhealthy behavior? Yeah.
So in early childhood, the most troubling thing happens between the mother and child, wherein a kind of separation anxiety develops. Whenever the mother is around, or let's say any primary caregiver is around, the child feels safe. Now, if the mother is not available, the primary caregiver is not available, the child starts feeling insecure, and either the child will cry or create a temper tantrum or something like that. Now, if we don't accept the differentiation from the mother as an adult, we will still feel insecure when we are away from mother.
Mm.
So, kind of separation anxiety is a concept which comes completely from the mother and child relationship, and we can see that in a lot of adults, for sure.
And as you talked about parents and especially mother, right? So can you explain the concept of attachment theory and its impact on relationships later in life?
So, attachment theory, I don't want to go into the technical thing and bore your audience,
Yeah.
but attachment theories is what kind of attachments we form during our early childhoods.
Okay.
It talks about the attachment with the primary caregiver. It talks about the
Mhm.
attachment with family members. Now, this attachment can be very secure, very matured, wherein the parents are available for the child. The child knows if I am feeling insecure, I can go back to the parent, but I still need to explore. This is kind of an secure attachment. But there is another extreme which is called insecure attachment or insecure anxious attachment, wherein as soon as the primary caregiver is absent or not available or not able to be seen in the close environment, the
Mhm.
child will feel insecure. So that
Okay.
is why children cry when they go to the KG or junior KG or nursery. The first few
Right.
days of sending a child to a school, to any school, informal schooling or a play group or anything, is a very tough space. It's a very tough phase for the parents and the child because that is the first time the child differentiates himself or herself and moves into the outer world. So, attachment theory talks about insecure attachment, ambivalent attachment, secure attachment, avoidant attachment. Now, these are various types of attachments. Avoidant attachment is where the mother or the primary caregiver. Why I repeatedly say primary caregiver? Because in a lot of homes, the mother may not be the primary caregiver.
Okay.
Today we see a trend wherein the nurses or what we
Mm.
call nanny
Nice. Yeah.
becomes the primary caregiver. Sometimes the grandmother is a primary caregiver, but the mother may be working. Or
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the mother is absent or the mother is not there and the father takes the primary caregiver role.
Right.
So to say that mother is only the primary caregiver is a little over the top.
Mm.
We have to
Correct.
understand what is the meaning of a primary caregiver. It can be father, it can be a nanny, it can be a grandmother, or anyone who has spent most of the time with the child.
Right.
So avoidant is where the child perceives that the person who is going to take care of me, the primary caregiver, is not available or not responding to my needs.
Okay.
Usually mothers or other people, when the child needs safety, security, warmth, the caregiver is not available. They are either occupied, they are working, or they are going through their own stress. That's why they are not available for all the needs of the child. Sometimes people don't know how to do parenting, so they are not
Mm.
available. They say they look at it as it's not such an important thing. It's not going to cause trouble to my baby, but it does cause damage at a subconscious level. So I'm not going to scare the audience believing that, oh, you need to be always available for your child. You don't have to be always available for your child. because the child also needs to learn to expose itself to the
Yeah.
environment and learn from the exposure. So these are various types of attachments. Attachments means what? Why do I get attached to something? I get attached to something because I perceive that the person, the place provides or fulfills my needs.
Hmm.
So as a baby, we have very few needs. We call it primitive needs. Now, what does a
Primitive.
baby want? The baby doesn't want a fancy car to sit in.
Yeah.
The baby wants safety, security, warmth, affection, nutrition. All of these things happens due to the feeding process. When
Hmm.
the baby is fed by the mother, it's not just nutrition that the mother is giving.
Right.
The mother is giving nutrition, the mother is giving safety, security, warmth, affection, and the mother is repeatedly showing the child that I am available here for you, so you don't have to worry, don't stress out, don't panic. There is somebody to protect you.
And that's how the initial mother heartbeat was resonated with the baby as well.
Absolutely. A lot of things happen during that time. The child, because if you see the first 3 months, the child cannot see at all, almost cannot see at all. The child cannot understand faces or recognize faces or people. So everything the child learns is through subconscious. And that subconsciousness is what? Nutrition, safety, security, warmth, affection. So as
The
soon as
primitive
the
need.
mother, yes, the primitive needs. As soon as the mother touches the baby or any other primary caregiver touches the baby knows I'm safe here.
Okay. Okay. That's like sensing
In
the information and feeling safe.
exactly. In the same way, if you look at adults also, especially women have a very strong intuition towards this. As soon as a woman is touched, she knows what kind of touch it is. She will know it's a good touch, or it's a bad touch, or it's a manipulative touch, or it's a supportive touch. Especially women are very sensitive to all these things. I'm not saying men are not sensitive, but women are more intuitive. So
Right.
that's why it happens. And we are also there. The way we shake hands, we understand what is the person saying. The
Hmm.
way we touch somebody or we put a hand on our shoulder. So non-verbal cues or our body language or our touch says a lot of things to us.
Right. Right. Yes.
So in
I
the
understand.
same way, a baby understands these things from these are what we call primitive needs, and the baby functions on these concepts only. The unfortunate part is as the baby learns that my attachment is with the person who is going to provide me all of these things. If this person is not providing it, then I will start having issues.
Okay. Yeah.
So now we develop attachment. It can be a secure attachment. It can be an insecure attachment. It can be an avoidant attachment. So over a period of time, we start replicating this learning in all the things that we do. And we will have same or similar patterns of relating to the people around us. So a person, let's say that whose mother has not been available. Let's say that she is working and she has a very stressful job.
Right.
Okay.
It's very
So she's
common.
available, very common these days. So I'm not blaming mothers, but I'm saying that let's take a scenario wherein she has too much stress. Or it can also happen that when there are joint families, huge joint families, sometimes the mother is not available for the baby because she has to fulfill so many responsibilities. Now, in this scenario, the baby will develop an avoidant attachment style with the mother and
Mm-hmm.
perceive that the
Mm-hmm.
mother is not going to protect me or save. So I will have to learn to do it on my own.
So that's where the independence tendencies actually come into picture, is it? Okay.
Yes, the independence starts. And if I have to talk about healthy independence, which I will talk after this. So once the baby learns that I have to fend for myself on my
Mm-hmm.
own without
Mm-hmm.
my primary caregiver, the child
Mm-hmm.
starts to love me because it's a survival mechanism. The child has to survive. The child will naturally do everything to survive.
Hmm.
So, what is the learned pattern here? The people I need protection, safety, security, warmth from are not
Yeah.
available for me. So, I need
o-
to learn to live on my own. Now, this is what the person replicates in the future relationships.
Okay.
So,
So,
that's why we see a lot of avoidant girls whose mothers have been avoidant. They
mm-hmm.
have real issues in the marriage or relationships or dating phase. The same goes for men. Men become too independent whose mothers or primary caregivers have not been available for them, they become too independent.
So what you're really saying is like as a baby or a child, we are basically like sponge, which actually takes in all the patterns and store, and we try to
Yes.
replicate the same thing during our adolescent and adult ages.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
in that case, the parenting aspect is really important in order to train a child as in make him an adult or an adolescent and everything.
Parenting is very important. Parenting is the most important aspect. Usually, parents tend to talk about the child. The parents need to talk about their parenting styles, how they are available, not available, how they are exposing the child, not exposing, how much they are keeping the child protected. So, there are parents who are always available for the child. The child doesn't go to anyone else, only sticks to the mother or the father. The child
Mm,
is unable to play with other children. The child is always revolving around the mother. If the
right.
mother is absent for a few minutes, the child starts crying. So there is
Okay.
another extreme also of it, wherein the mother is overly available, what we call indulgent mother, indulgent parenting, wherein the mother or father is so available for the child and trying to fulfill each and every need of the child so religiously
Mhm.
that the child becomes dependent.
Okay.
And this dependency is seen over a period of time wherein the child or an adolescent or a teenager is still sticking to the parents, is always revolving around the parents, believing I'm only safe when my parents are around.
Okay. So if I, yeah,
The
yes.
pattern can be seen in introverts.
Okay. I was about to say that. So basically, a lot of friends and colleagues that I have, they have their own space, their own cocoon, and they don't want to come out of it because they won't feel secure. They'll have some kind of anxiety and those all things, right? So you're saying this might be coming from their parenting style of
Yes,
having a overly indulging caregiver.
it can be. It can be not necessary. It's always that because psychology is not ultimate. There are many
Correct.
things which happen. But
Yeah.
yes, it does impact what kind of parenting they have.
So as we are talking about the avoidant style in the relationships, so I have a question with respect to that. Like, what are some common patterns or dynamics that can lead to challenges in marriage or long-term relationships? Because as you mentioned, like the parenting aspect is really, really important in understanding these attachments and how you interact with people and the experiences.
Yes.
Feel that this is really important for the people who are watching this session where they might have long-term relationships or marriage-related aspects, right? So can you give some understanding of?
So, if we have to make a correlation between our attachment style and the
Mhm,
relationship which we have, and this is
mhm.
not necessarily only in marriage, it can happen
Yeah,
during the dating phase also. Even
yeah.
if you are in a live in relationship with someone, it can happen. So, any relationship, social, romantic, or professional, you can see
Mhm,
this. But
mhm.
when it comes to marriage, it is seen the most, impactful that we say of attachment style can be seen in marriage. Why?
Okay,
Because it's a 24/7 friction between the partners.
okay,
So a marriage is a 24/7 friction between two people, and there are multiple layers that happen in a marriage.
okay.
So, so if I have to introduce attachment styles into marriage, what would I say? That a person learns a
Mhm,
mechanism, a default setting, wherein it learns subconsciously that I have to relate to the people around me, close people to me, in a certain way. Because either they are available or not available, or I am too
mhm,
independent or I am too dependent. It
mhm.
could be a range of things. It's not just very black and white. It cannot be black and white. It's a range of colors wherein you will see that people are extremely avoidant, people are extremely dependent, and in between everything. So once a person learns this mechanism to relate to the loved ones, to the people who are close to them, they
Mhm.
will replicate the patterns. What will they do? Is that they will relate to the person, let's say husband and wife in a marriage, when two
Right,
people come close.
correct.
If a husband has an avoidance style, what the
Mhm.
person will do is the person will fulfill the responsibilities,
Okay,
will take accountability, but will be emotionally absent or emotionally unavailable.
okay. All the
So you will see
providing will
this.
have. Yeah, all the providing will happen whenever it comes to empathy or understanding, compassion, and everything. So this person is like gone. He'll not be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. So when it comes to fulfilling responsibilities or taking care of themselves, they are very good. But when it comes to fulfilling the needs of the partner, being empathetic, compassionate, being a companion for the partner, understanding their cues, emotional cues, all of these things are somewhat absent to them. Or even if they understand it, they don't respond to it because that is the way they have learned to respond to anything which is emotional.
So is it because their primary caregivers also had done the same thing? They had fulfilled everything, but whenever it comes to empathy and compassion, they were absent.
Exactly. So now, if you have to see that as a child, sometimes parents reprimand the child not to cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Parents say, "Do not cry. Communicate what do you want. Explain what
Mm,
do you want to say." Now, this
mm,
is a good mechanism wherein what are the parents trying to do? The parents are trying to raise the standard of the child into communication and verbalizing what they are actually feeling. So, parents are trying to make the child emotionally aware what are they dealing with, and they can be able to communicate. This is a good
mm.
way of teaching the child.
Right.
But some parents only respond to the child when the child is crying.
Okay.
Now, what does
It's
this
like a trigger.
person
It's like a trigger. When there is a trigger, then only it happens. Okay.
exactly? So, when parents are overly indulgent when the child is crying, the child learns a technique that I have to cry and I will get everything. What
Okay. Right. Right. Makes sense. Yeah.
now the problem with this is as a child, it looks very cute that the child is very close to the parents and dependent on
Correct.
the parents. The parents feel very happy. They feel proud that see, I am such a good parent that my child needs. Unfortunately, this is the pattern that they learn forever. So when they go into relationships and marriage and everything, any conflict that they will have, they will go into sulking, crying, or emotionally distancing themselves.
Okay. Okay.
The challenge is that the partner will have to bear the consequences for it, wherein every conflict the couple has, that person will go into sulking, the
Mm,
person will emotionally withdraw, go into crying or complaining that my life
right.
is miserable, you have made my life miserable, you are always doing this. So the person starts projecting their issues onto the partner.
Mm,
Now you tell me, as parents, you have unconditional love for your child. You're always available. You will do everything, even if it comes to selling your organs for your child. Some parents will even do that. But marriage is a conditional marriage. Marriage happens on conditions. It's not unconditional. There is a constant exchange. A parent's relationship is one way. I will give everything to the child, even if the child doesn't reborn. Even if the child becomes a 40-year-old man, that person is still a child for the parents. So,
mm.
parents' love is very unconditional, one way street. But in a marriage, it's a two-way street. In a marriage, there is an exchange, there is a give and take. So, when this person learns a sulking mechanism, constantly crying and complaining mechanism, the partner cannot deal with it. The partner doesn't know how to deal.
He'll go
And this
crazy.
happens with men, women both.
He,
Yes,
he or she, yeah, will go crazy.
they will go crazy. And they are unable to deal with it because they don't understand why is it happening so. And sometimes it goes to such an extreme that the partner who is sulking and crying makes their marriage such a problematic, dramatic state wherein they project to the world that only because of my marriage I am miserable, completely miserable.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
actually the other way around. So what we call is conflict resolution technique,
Mm.
self-soothing. All of these techniques are not available for this person who is dependent on the parents constantly.
So what you're trying to say is, let's say as a child, we'll get all these unconditional love, affection, and other stuff, right? So in the
Yes.
adolescent, we maybe early adolescent and adolescent age, we will start going into the society, and at the adult level, we'll be going into the society more professionally. So what parenting has to help us in general is to understand and thrive between unconditional and conditional space, right? So when we
Yes.
are not able to thrive or not ready to thrive in the conditional space, we expect to have an unconditional love or affection or care. So that
Absolutely.
basically causes this friction, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yes. It does cause a lot of friction, and the friction is fine. See, in any
Right.
relationship, there is a friction.
Right.
Only through friction, new mechanisms of problem solving, conflict resolution are developed. So friction is a must, and you cannot avoid friction. And if there is no friction, actually, there is no relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. But the problem is when I have learned the default setting and I have a subconscious way of responding to every conflict, then it's a problem.
So when we're talking about this communication and articulating needs and everything, right? How does effective communication play a crucial role in maintaining a healthy relationship?
So actually, communication is the most important factor. I will tell you honestly, because conflict resolution is the secondary one, but conflict happens in every marriage, every relationship. The way you communicate will define if the conflict is escalating or de-escalating.
Yeah.
The way you communicate. But communication is a very superficial understanding of this. How we talk is the last thing. What
Mm.
we believe, what are our biases, what are our subconscious mechanisms, how we perceive things, how we interpret things. All of these things will help me communicate.
You're right.
Now, if all of these issues are there, I will not communicate in the right way.
Okay, I'll be mostly, let's say I'm taking my example. Let's say I have some limiting beliefs and some subconscious patterns. I'll not be responding. I'll be reacting to the situation, is what you are saying, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because you have certain biases and belief systems internal.
Right. So, but what makes me as a self, right? It's all these beliefs and patterns, right? If you see
So
that
that,
this, yeah, if you see that's a counterintuitive thing, right? Like, which is what I am, is basically, it's the real reason for all this friction and conflict and all this stuff. Right? So that's where the faculty minds or any other provider basically helps and make the self a very responding kind of a person rather than reacting to the pattern.
yes. So what does it mean by responding and reacting? Reacting means I'm impulsive. I
Mm.
respond to something in a very impulsive state, which comes from my emotions, deep seated emotions or biases. Responding is what? Understanding what the other person is saying, understanding what I want to say, being aware of your emotions and biases, and then communicating. That is what we call responding. So let's say that somebody you go to a social setting, you go to a meeting in a professional setup, and somebody doesn't talk to you and ignores you completely. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
The person looks at you, you know that person. I'm not saying that that person is a stranger. You know that person, but the person just looks at you and walks away. What could be the range of interpretations of this action?
For me, especially, it's a fill in the blank. Like I will start filling the blanks so much based on my experience.
Exactly. The way you will fill in the blanks, all of us do that. Now,
Right.
some people who are having insecure attachments, or some people who are having avoidant attachments, they will directly impulsive interpretation of reaction would be what? This person doesn't like me.
Doesn't like me. Yeah.
Person doesn't this person hates me, or if this person thinks that I'm not so great or not good enough to talk.
Okay, that's what if I link it back to the relation aspect, that's what the avoidant do, and that's what the another partner who is involved will not have a clue what's actually happening, right?
Yes, yes,
And this will basically break their connection and the understanding between both of them.
absolutely. Now,
So,
for the
yeah.
example I gave you happens in everyday life with everyone.
Mm.
In
True.
marriage, it's 24/7.
Yes.
So if a person is very dependent, let's say a person is very dependent on parents and then they get married. So what will they want from the partner? They will want complete attention.
Dependence. Yeah.
They will want complete dependency. They will want constant availability of the partner. But as soon as the partner focuses on something related to them, self aspirations or their work,
Mm.
their own achievements, this partner will feel rejected or abandoned.
Okay. So this is the reason why in the relationship when someone is growing, like taking
Yeah.
new responsibilities or something, the other partner will be trying to pull them down because they are no longer given that importance.
They are not pulling down, they are trying to get attention or equal attention. They are saying that you are doing that, that's fine. You're going into self aspirations and self actualization, that's fine, but you need to give me equal attention.
Okay. Okay. It's like raising my hand in the classroom stating that I know the answer, please give me attention, something like that.
Yeah, give me attention. So now this attention needs comes from our patterns.
Correct.
So this is a biased interpretation of mine that when a person is not paying attention to me or when a person is not giving me time, that means the person hates me, doesn't love me, doesn't want me.
Okay. Okay.
So what will this partner do? The partner will do all kinds of nonsense, all kinds of manipulations to bring back the attention on themselves.
Okay. That's where the tantrums comes into picture, right? I want attention.
There are a lot of things which happen. Tantrums come, manipulations come, a stonewalling comes. People stop responding to each other. People try and deny the existence of the partner. They will reject any kind of intimacy. So all of these things happen. They are not happening because they want to break the relationship or marriage. It is happening
Yes.
because they may want more attention. The same goes for avoidance. Avoidance try to focus so much on themselves because they have learned that I need to be independent. There's nobody going to take care of me. Nobody is going to be available for me. So I need to take care of myself. So what do? They focus on themselves most of the time. They focus on their achievements, self aspirations, their health, their passions. Now, in this scenario, again, the partner feels rejected
Hmm.
because avoidance will talk in I. I want to do this, I want to do that. But usually in marriage, if you see healthy marriages, they talk in duality, they talk in we,
We.
they talk in a collectivist perspective.
Correct.
So couples usually talk in we. We want to do this. We are thinking of traveling here. We are
Hmm.
doing this investment. This we comes. Now we have a good bank balance. We are secure. This is the term used by healthy couples. But in unhealthy couples, a partner will be very self-centric due to
Yeah.
not because I'm not blaming any individual. It happens
Right.
because a lot of bias, very subconscious patterns of relating. So the partner will say, I have a bank balance. I need to be safe. I need to make myself more successful. I need to do this. I need to do that. Now, this is a clear differentiation from the part.
So now if I understand whatever things that are happening in the relationship or in the marriage, right? So these are the total patterns that are coming from our childhood, where we have seen our parents or the caregivers generally do, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
then people are losing their interest or connection in the marriage, right? So what advice do you give for couples facing a loss of intimacy or connection in their relationship?
And the advice is not going to be simple because the marriage is such a layered relationship. There is no other relationship you can compare with between husband and a husband wife relationship is absolutely different from any other relationship. It can be the closest of the relationship you have, brother, sister, childhood friends, mother, child, the closest of the relationships, but marriage is multi-layered. See, why marriage? Marriage is the only relationship wherein you are guaranteeing multiple things. So you are promising a lot of things in a marriage. You're promising protection and availability and companionship. You're promising legally that you're going to be available for the partner and you're going to provide for the partner. There is intimacy and sex which is involved in the relationship. There is money and commitments and accountability which is involved. So let's say that if you have a conflict with your friend, you can walk away and meet the friend after 6 months. Your friendship is maintained. But if a husband wife has a conflict in the morning, by the next day they are having World War III
Yes, sir. Yes,
because there is a
totally agree.
cyclical reciprocal relationship between any husband and wife. There is a reciprocal relationship which is constantly moving and constantly evolving. So a simple conflict like my husband did not wish me good morning and when he woke up. So that could be a complaint. I will tell you how it escalates. So in
Yes,
a funny way, we will take. Let's not take
yes,
wives. Let's take
yeah.
husband. So let's say husband wakes up in the morning and says that my wife did not wish me good morning. So what he does is he gets upset and he goes and takes a shower and starts getting ready for work. Okay. So the wife says that he's gotten ready and everything. He didn't even ask me what is my plan for today. He did not tell me where he's going. And he did not tell me he did not ask me what is my plan. So what she does is she cooks breakfast, but they don't talk on the dining table. Okay. This is the second escalation. Now let's say that they both go and work. They are in the office. So in the morning when they did not start the day well, what happens is the whole day they don't message each other.
Mm, okay.
They have some important discussion to do as any family has. Some or the other work is there. So husband wives communicate constantly whole day. Let's say that the both partners did not message or call each other throughout the day. What happens in the evening? The wife is saying he's too occupied. He doesn't even ask me what I have done in the whole day. He did not call me or did not inform me. So she gets upset and she says that let me go home and sit. I will wait for him till the time he comes. At the same time, the husband is saying, oh, she did not call me. I don't give her a damn now. I will go out and have drinks with my friends.
Mm.
So after office, he goes directly for a night out or something to hang out with his friends and comes back home at 11 o'clock. The wife is at home at 6 o'clock. So from 6 to 11, the conflict is simmering in her mind.
Right. Right.
11 o'clock, he comes back. She doesn't ask him, why didn't you talk to me in the morning? She directly says, you don't care. You didn't even ask me what I did the whole day. You are hanging out with your friends. You couldn't message me also a single message, or you could have just called me and told me that I'm hanging out with my friends. I will come home late. The food is wasted. You did not inform me.
Right.
The husband gets pissed off. One night, if I'm enjoying with my friends, you have so much problem. Do you see the escalation? So the
Yeah.
interpretation has gone from something to something else. The
Yeah.
husband now feels the husband now feels that she is upset because I went out with my friends. So the conflict is in North India and the resolution is in South India. It's like they are going into the peaks. Now this is what happens in any marriage. Now if I attach a multi-layered concept of attachments to this now, it is going to create a bigger mess. So if I have to simplify, I want to give you very generic uh, terms of what couples need to pay attention to. The first thing what happens is couples have a conflict of communication.
Mm.
Why? Because most of the couples who are in conflicts constantly, they are not trying to resolve a conflict, they are trying to win a conflict. What does that mean? That they are trying to prove their partner wrong, not to resolve a conflict.
Okay, they are not de-escalating. They are saying whatever it is, I the winner.
I'm going to win. I'm going to win this argument.
Right.
So they focus on winning the argument, or what we call one-upmanship. They want to prove their partner wrong and prove self absolutely right and virtuous, saying that, see, told you, you don't listen to me. Whatever I tell you, you listen to me, everything will be fine. So this is one-upmanship, wherein they want to show that they are either more knowledgeable or more matured or more understanding, whatever they want to interpret it as. And they are trying to do that. They are trying to win an argument. They are trying to win a conflict, not resolve a conflict.
And this also comes from the patterns from the childhood itself, from the caregiver.
This could be coming from the childhood or it can be an adult part also. Because
Okay.
as you are married now, you have developed a certain way. So your personality comes into the picture. Your interpretations comes into the picture. Your power needs come into the picture.
Okay. It's a learned behavior. Generally.
It's a learned behavior which is replicated subconsciously in the marriage.
Okay. And when we are talking about the relationships, especially marriage, right? So can you help me how to understand what exactly is a projection in a marriage and how does it manifest in relation?
So projection is a very complicated thing to understand. If I have to give you the literal way for the audience, understand projection, don't look at it in a very technical psychological. Projection means what is a projector? There is a machine which has the movie or the images and they are projected on the wall. That's
Yes.
what we call a projector. So there is a film in the machine. There is nothing on the wall.
Yeah, there's nothing on the wall. This is what typically we see in the movie theaters.
Yeah, when we go to a theater, there is nothing on the curtain. The movie film, or the now it's a digital
Digital.
mechanic. Yeah, it's in the machine and it's projected on the curtain.
Okay.
And we perceive that the movie is happening here. No, movie is happening in the machine behind us.
Yeah, right.
So this is a projector. In the same way, psychological projection means what? The insecurities, deficiencies, or fears you have within you, you project it on the partner or the person around. I give you an example wherein if you have gone into a social setting and this person looks at you, doesn't talk to you, and just moves out,
Right.
you perceive that this person dislikes.
Okay. Okay. There is a movie running in my mind which I had projected onto that person. So this is projected. Okay.
This is
Okay.
projection. So
Yeah.
anything which I feel about myself, inferiority, complexes, fears, I project it on the person. Let's say a funny example when we look at dogs. We look at dogs and believe that every dog is going to come and bite.
Right.
Why? Dogs don't want to bite you always. Yes, dogs keep barking, but that is because they are insecure and they want to
Then
protect.
experiment.
But what we feel, this dog wants to bite me.
Hmm.
So in the same way that what am I doing over there, I'm projecting my fear onto the dog.
Right.
The funniest thing is when we see cockroaches. Some people get so scared of cockroaches. Is the cockroach going to eat you? But we get scared of a cockroach. We don't get scared of a cockroach. We project our fear on the cockroach.
Right.
The irrational fear which we have.
Yeah. Now it totally makes sense. Sir. So we have a movie that we are projecting onto something or some individual.
Yeah.
That's called the projection.
Yes. So we have a movie running in our mind. So I will tell you a simple thing. A person who has social anxiety. Let's take an example of a person with social anxiety. This
Right.
person constantly analyzes the environment around them and sees who likes them, who dislikes them. Okay. They're
Constantly.
constantly making these calculations in their this person looked at me. Oh, the person did not smile. The person did not give me a weird look. So the person is fine with me, neutral with me. Oh, this person smiled at me. Then they like. This person did not even look at me. Oh, they dislike. So these are calculations which are happening in a social setting. Now, through that, what I perceive a number of people who like me or dislike me. I differentiate between them.
Hmm.
And then
Yes.
what I will do is I will say, oh, this person did not like me because I'm not well dressed. And my hair are not looking good today. I am not so rich. No, that's why this person hates me. That person believes they are richer than. Now, this is projection, wherein you have certain insecurities, inferiorities in your mind, and you're projecting it out on the curtain of social setting or environment.
If that is really that important, like whatever the each and every cue that we are having during this experience, right? Especially you said in a marriage, when two people are together 24 by 7 and they are having a lot of experiences, interactions, and everything. How can individuals become more aware of these projections and address their projections in the relationship?
So that is where what we call consciousness. People take consciousness as a very spiritual thing or something which they cannot achieve, and you need to do a lot of meditation to achieve it. Consciousness means what? In a very simplified term, is being conscious of who you are, what is happening within you, how you
Yeah.
respond to the environment. If I have to see it in these three levels, who am I? What is happening within me? And how am I responding to the environment around me?
Yeah.
If I'm conscious of it, let's say that I have a feeling that I'm inferior. Okay. I feel that I'm inferior to some people around me or in my environment. Either they are richer than me, more intelligent, more knowledgeable, anything, or more good looking. It can be anything. So, what I will feel, consciousness means what? I am aware that I am feeling inferior of people. Okay. But at the same time, I question that this inferiority comes from the environment or within me. It actually doesn't come from the environment. It actually comes from within you. And then how do I respond? So do I go and talk to people? No, I avoid people. Do I expose myself to new experiences? No, I avoid experiences. I avoid people. I avoid going into the room wherein I can learn new things because I feel inferior.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I have need to be conscious of all of these things and then act against them.
Right.
Acting against them means what? Not letting my inferiority complex take over my decisions, take over my choices. So I will go and meet those people who I feel uncomfortable with. That is responding with self awareness and consciousness. See, all of us have some or the other challenges within us. Even me as a psychotherapist, I am very aware of what are the challenges I have. Okay. So all of us have these challenges within us. The whole point is you need to be aware of it and you need to overcome. That is what we call consciousness.
And this
So
is what
if
exactly the psychology and psychologists like you really help us in order to become more self-aware and understand these patterns, how we are behaving and how to be
yeah,
a good person or a I wouldn't say like good as such of a moral aspect. It would
yeah,
say,
not
yeah,
good.
not as a moral aspect, it is more of a behavioral aspect.
Yeah, yeah. So good behavior, but that's what psychology and psychotherapists like me try to help for you. So making conscious decisions means being aware of all the complexes, all the challenges you have, and still making right decisions, still responding in the right way to the environment around. Otherwise, as I said, you are just reacting to everything. If you see angry people, Now, when I say angry people, that is a trait in them. They don't get angry, they are almost angry all the time.
All
And
the
then
time.
they
Okay.
explode.
Okay.
If you see road rage comes from this subconscious mechanism of rest.
Okay.
Road rage is believing that this person is consciously, purposefully trying to stop me and not letting me go ahead or not allowing me to go ahead because this person wants to show that he is superior, he or she is superior.
Okay. That is purely ego driven, right? It's
It is
not.
ego driven. It is
Yeah.
ego driven. Road rages are ego driven. Always.
Like like
So people are frustrated. And this is what we call another mechanism is similar to projection in displacement. I have a
all right.
conflict in one area of my life. I don't
Yeah.
solve it over there, but I displace it on the other area of.
Okay. He might, let's say I encountered this kind of a situation. If a person is basically having a rage and he's shouting at me, so one of the possible thing that you are saying is he might have some unresolved issues in his life. Maybe it is marriage, kids, or something else. And he
Yes,
is basically displacing those emotions at this situation.
exactly.
Okay. And if that is the case, being self-aware and conscious is really important. Right? And
It
if
is.
I if I go one step down and ask you is what what role does self-awareness play in sustaining a healthy relationship? As you had mentioned about being conscious and being self-aware is really important in order to respond rather than react. Right? So how it really helps in maintaining or sustaining healthy relationships.
If I give you an example, now when we were talking about being angry or anger as an emotion, if you see constantly, some people are very short tempered. They also declare it very proudly that I'm a short tempered person. Please don't mess with me.
They give themselves an identity. I'm a short-term
They
person.
give, yeah, and I have met so many people who are very proudly declaring that I'm a short tempered person. Other, I just take few minutes. Once I get angry, I am angry for a few minutes, then I cool down. And so please take care of it and please be aware of it. Don't feel bad.
Okay.
Now, short temperedness comes from your internal default setting wherein your parents or any of your parent has been very critical to you.
Mm,
You constantly feel judged by someone, and your mechanism is to be aggressively resisting whatever the other person is saying.
mm.
That's what we call short temperedness.
Okay. Okay. And these people, right, like when they are short-tempered and they are saying that I'm short-tempered,
Yeah.
and they're in turn saying this message, right? Hey, whatever you face with respect to me, I'll not be responsible because my identity is short-tempered. And
Yes.
that is not great, right? Because in an interaction, a person has to be responsible how they respond or react to the situation.
True.
Maybe they are giving that identity that I am short-tempered so that they will get away from it.
We can get away with it, and other people will be much more aware and sensitive to what triggers.
Okay, it's like in the next situation, if they want to
Yeah.
be themselves,
Yeah.
these short-tempered people are saying like, if you are like this, I will be short-tempered and I will do something, react some way. So they want to suppress their other partner.
Now, this person has major issues with tolerance. Every person who has short temperedness or as a trait
Right,
that they are
right.
short tempered, they have tolerance issues. Now, this
Mm.
tolerance issue could have been dealt with a critical parent. They may have a critical parent who is constantly judging them, constantly pinpointing their flaws, constantly poking them in the road. So, this person becomes resistant to them and short tempered because they are intolerant. Their tolerance level is finished. Now, this is a learned pattern
Okay,
or reinforced pattern between the parent and the child. Over a period of time, this child becomes an adult, and as an adult, the person believes that this is only the way that I can respond or I should respond to anything which is thrown at me, or if I feel attacked or judged, I need to throw this. So
okay.
I will not tolerate any kind of nonsense or injustice, and that's what triggers me, and that's how I become short-tempered person.
So I'm really fascinated about this idea. Let's say I am in a setup where my caregivers are in a certain responding in a certain way. let's say my father or my mother responds in a certain way when I say something about like spending money or going out and playing. So why does a person who had experienced this kind of a behavior from parents go and replicate the same thing in a different environment with a different person? Let's say if I learned a pattern, I should be able to understand, hey, my father is there, my mother is there, I need to respond in this. Rather than that, with any person, if I go and encounter this kind of situation, why the same behavior or a reaction happens? So can you help me out in understanding?
It's a learned behavior, a learned mechanism, which is learned subconsciously. Understand? What does it mean by subconscious? Our eating habits are defined by subconscious. Our sleeping habits are defined by subconscious. Our
Okay.
physical health or tendency to work out or not work out or laziness, our temperaments, everything is defined by the subconscious mechanism. So our patterns of responding is also defined by subconscious mechanism. Only people who are conscious of it have moved on from the subconscious patterns and become self-aware. And now they respond not through subconscious mechanisms, but with conscious decision making, conscious choices. Okay. We all function from that. We all function. Why do we eat? If I have to say, if I ask somebody that what will be your most favorite food, which you want to eat and which you can eat repeatedly, they answer subconsciously, which they have done in the childhood.
Yeah.
They will
That's why
always
mom's
respond.
cooking. That's why mom's cooking.
That is why they will always say, oh, dal khichdi or dal bhat or dosa,
Rajma chawal.
rajma chawal. These are things that we have eaten in the childhood. That food, the company is associated with some kind of comfort.
Hmm.
That is subconscious.
That's why it's called comfort food.
That's why it's called comfort food. It's not
Right.
because it is giving me comfort physically. It's giving
Yeah.
me mental and emotional comfort.
Yeah. At the environment level itself, I feel secure.
Yes. Yes. So, in the same way, if I have to look at it in a negative style, I have learned that only through aggressive responding and resisting what other people are saying, then I can solve a conflict. This is a subconscious learning.
Right. Right.
So, as soon as I
Okay.
become aggressive, everybody shuts up. So, good
Okay.
mechanism for me. I have to continue. We need to continue with that question. The question was, how does it respond? How does it happen in marriages? Now, people who are responding to their partners, they need to be conscious of these patterns from their parents.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So let's say I have taken a lot of negative examples. I will take a so-called positive example. Okay. Achievements. There are some people who are very aggressively driven for achievements in any way, achievements in health, achievements in status, social status, position, or money, or social recognition. So for them, achievement is necessary. Now, this achievement can be a long-term goal, can be a short-term. A short-term goal can be people are so obsessed with achievement that they plan for the day, and if they have tick marked everything in the whole day, they feel very proud of themselves, right?
Okay.
So for them, that is a very short-term achievement, but that is still important, equally important to the long-term achievement. Now, we look at this in a very good way. Oh, this person is so driven. This person is so obsessed with achievement. This person takes in so much hard work, gives in so much hard work, dedicated. But if you see, this kind of achievement can also come from a very judgmental, critical parent who only appreciates you and loves you when you have achievement for.
Okay. Okay.
And
So
when
the
there is
worth
no
is,
achievement,
yeah.
when there is no achievement, you are rejected, you are abandoned, you are completely denied any kind of love and affection.
Okay. If I understand this, it's basically like if I don't achieve something, I'm not of any value or worth.
Absolutely right.
So this is basically learned in the childhood. And when it comes to societal or professional setting, I have to achieve something in order to prove that I am worth.
Exactly. So unless and until I have an achievement, my worth, my self worth is always defined by an achievement. If my
Okay.
achievement goes high, my self worth goes high. If my achievement goes down, my self worth goes down. It's constantly proportionate to my achievements, myself. So now this is a very negative pattern which I have learned in my childhood and I am replicating in my life. Now let's say that this same person marries someone. Okay. What will this person do? Emotionally unavailable, not a companion, always trying to calculate their contributions in the space of money, facilities, infrastructure, or comforts. So this person will always say to their partner, I am giving you money, I am working for you, I have given you such a good lifestyle. We always travel the world, and we take 2 trips during the year, always international trips during the year. What else do you want? So they will measure their love and affection on the basis of what they provide through their achievement. Let me attach a disclaimer that you cannot blame everything on your parents. Yes, parental influence, upbringing influence, your school influence also, which area you lived in, which area you were born in, which socio-cultural background you come from, your school learnings, your school atmosphere, everything dominates your existence. Yes, but you cannot blame it. That is what we call adulting. That is what we call the process of differentiation. In psychology, differentiation of self is a very important concept. Adulting is an important concept. Now, Gen Z is using adulting, adulting. What does adulting mean? Adulting means not blaming everything on your past. My mother was like this, my father was like this, my schoolmates, classmates bullied me. I come from a very poor background. I come from a very high background. You cannot blame or put the past on in responsibility. That is what we call differentiation of self. Means I differentiate myself from the teachings of the past. I differentiate myself from the subconscious learnings of the past, and I will make my conscious decisions. What do I want to do? I'm not going to function on the basis of that. So after the age of 18, what we call adult? Now you're an adult. Why do we say adult? Means what? Now you are an identity of your own, and you need to find your identity. What your parents did, what your background did, and what your history did with you is history now.
Yeah.
Now don't waste time in indulging in that, and not don't waste time in suffering what happened in your past. So now you're an adult, go ahead and live a life and make your own identity. Making your identity is differentiation of self, differentiating themselves from all the things. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't become that, and they
Yeah.
still struggle with the parenting styles, with the reinforcement mechanisms that the parent. Now coming to the question, what you see, families don't understand the mechanisms that they are doing because they are happening over a period of time. They
Right.
don't happen as events. This is a slow poison. It happens over a period of 10 years, 20 years,
Mm.
and it's an everyday slow process in them. So if you have to go back to the families and identify that, that is going to take a lot of. But what you need to do, you means an individual needs to do is find out what are the patterns they have been doing. So if you see relating patterns of relating to others, there will be a set pattern. People tend to date the same kind of people repeated. People will have the same conflicts in relationships repeated. I have met so many girls who always say, "Why do I always get the bad boys?" They don't get the bad boys. They always choose those bad boys who are not available for them, who are always distant, who reject them, and they always like those kind of boys. These are all subconscious patterns. Now, as an adult, you need to learn how to grow out of it and read your patterns. Focus on the self awareness. But this will not come from the environment. You need to focus on within. What is driving me? What is driving me to be so clingy in the relationship? Why do I feel inferior in the relationship? Why do I respond to my wife with anger all the time? Why do I always tend to dominate a discussion, believing that if I let other people speak or listen, then they are going to attack me and use it against me? These are the questions, these are the kind of questions you should ask. Why am I clingy? Why am I so dependent in my marriage? Why do I always need my partner for everything? Why am I so distant from my partner? I married this person. I love this person. I do everything for this person, but I am not emotionally available. Why? What is stopping me from it? What is making me so uncomfortable? Where does this discomfort come from? These are the introspective questions which each and every individual should ask. Only through these questions you can discover yourself. Yeah. We unfortunately externalize our issues. That is what we call projection or displacement. We externalize our issues, saying I'm the problem. I'm not the problem. The environment is the. I will try to summarize it. It's not so simple, but I will still try to summarize it for your audience. So the first thing is having a healthy communication. Healthy communication means what? Not trying to win an argument, not trying to prove my partner wrong, but trying to focus on the problem and not my partner. I'm not here to blame my partner. I'm not here to find faults in my partner. I'm trying to find the solution for the problem. So in that, what happens that you are focused, problem focused, not person focused. You are not trying to find faults in your partner. This is the first thing that most of the couples and marriages need to do. The unhealthy marriages, the first thing that have is this pattern. In this communication pattern, we also talk about 4 types of communication. Criticism. Instead of resolving the conflict or talking about the problem, you start criticizing your partner. Why did you do this? Who told you to do this? Why couldn't you ask me first? Why are you so irresponsible? Why are you so restless? Why are you taking so many decisions on your own? Why can't you ask? So this is the kind of criticism that we give to the partner. The second is contempt, wherein we put down the partner. You are always irresponsible. You are good for nothing. I can't expect a single thing from you. I can never expect support from you. You are so useless. This is contempt. The third thing is defensiveness, wherein one of the partner will become very defensive. Like I said, short-temperedness, it's a mechanism to defend yourself. So defensiveness, wherein if the partner is saying something to you, you immediately respond with, I didn't do it. I'm not responsible. Why are you blaming me? Why should I always be blamed? Why can't you take responsibility? So the communication cannot happen. Two people sitting together in a team and cannot resolve a conflict. And the fourth one is the worst one is stonewalling, wherein the partners completely deny the existence of each other. They don't talk for days. They are not intimate. They don't discuss anything. They don't sit together. They don't sit and watch movies or go out. They will completely deny the existence of the partner. They only talk in transactional. If there is any work, they will either message each other or they will just call and finish the conversation. So communication is the topmost priority. The second one immediately comes in conflict resolution. Simply, if I have to put, there are couples who are collaborative conflict resolvers or there are competitive conflict resolvers. So they compete with each other again to show that I have a better solution than you, which causes major problems. Also, they will say what? They will usually demand a certain kind of trait or action from their partner, which the partner may never be able to provide. So let's say that an extrovert marries an introvert. The extrovert will say, why are you so introvert? Why can't you just come out and party with me? It's the basic nature. So if a problem arises, this extrovert partner will tell the introvert partner that you go and resolve it, you go and talk to them. The introvert says, I can't do it. I'm uncomfortable talking to people. Please do that. So this is competitive problem conflict resolution. Not using the strengths that each partner has and use it. Like if I have to give you a funny example, there is always an extrovert who marries an introvert. There is a person who always saves money and the other partner always likes to spend money. It's always like that. So nature always attracts, the opposites attract. If you see a person one person would like to sit home and watch movies or read a book, the other person wants to go do adventure trips. So these kind of combinations come. So then they fall into a pattern of competitive conflict resolution or collaborative. Try and resolve the conflict because conflicts are a given for any relationship. And conflicts for a marriage is a every day, every minute thing. There are multiple conflicts which people go through. There is a at home cylinder is finished conflict. The most everyday conflict for people. There is no gas, there is no cylinder. Cylinder is finished. Let's resolve the conflict. There are going to be guests. What will the partner start doing? Why didn't you tell me earlier when you knew that the cylinder is going to finish? You should have told me 4 days ago. I would have booked it 4 days ago. Now this is competitive conflict resolution, where instead of focusing on the problem, you go into attacking each other. The third one, and I think equally important, is intimacy. Partners, healthy partners, what is the differentiating factor between healthy marriage and unhealthy marriages? Healthy marriage, even if there is a conflict, they don't let go of the intimacy. It can be emotional, intellectual, or sexual intimacy. Partners invest in the intimacy even if the problem exists. In unhealthy marriages, always attack intimacy, wherein I have seen couples not getting intimate for 2 months because there was a conflict 2 months ago. Now, what happens when you are away from your partner, emotionally, physically, mentally, you start cooking up stories in your mind. You start interpreting it in the wrong way because all your biases come into the conflict. And you create stories about why your partner is distant from. They don't like me, they have somebody else in their life, They never wanted to marry me. All kinds of stories there are which cause more conflicts. So unhealthy marriages, the first thing what they do, which I have seen in a lot of couples in my marital therapy experience, the first thing they cut out is intimacy. That is the worst, because intimacy is the best conflict resolution technique in a marriage. So first one, communication; second one, conflict resolution; third one, intimacy; fourth one would be trust, which actually overpowers everything. You need to trust your partner that this person is not going to do something. Either marry a person who you can trust that way, or don't stay with a person who you cannot trust.